Great. Welcome to Startup Showcase Online.
Hi.
From Austin, Silicon Valley, and online from YouTube and the webinar. Thanks a lot for coming. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to invite all the judges to introduce.
My name is Sunthar Premakumar. I'm part of Rex. I'm one of the founding partners and the chief product officer. I've been with Rex for about 5 years, and in the process, we launched 10 prop tech companies. Before Rex, I was part of an edtech startup called Piazza. We build online forums for college classes that's used by about 1,500 universities in 90 countries. I grew up in Sri Lanka, did my undergrad at Stanford, and my master's at UPenn.
Thank you. Nikhil.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nikhil Choudhary. I'm the general partner at Nirman Ventures, which is a seed stage venture capital fund investing in construction tech and clean tech. Prior to starting a fund, I've been a serial entrepreneur in construction. We built architecture, engineering companies from scratch, and I'm glad and thankful to be here. Thank you, David.
Yuji.
Yep. Hi, everyone. This is Yuji Doi. I'm an innovation manager of Kajima. Kajima is a construction company based in Japan, mainly serving as a general contractor. We kind of look into this innovation to find partners, collaborations, and opportunity to invest after on. As our company, we do most of the type of the construction from commercial, residential, all the way to the infrastructure kind of projects. So we have a wide perspective, as well as more on the design and engineering side, as well as in the real estate side of the business. So pretty much a wide variety of the business portfolio we have, looking for opportunity to work with any kind of solutions that can really help our core business right now, as well as looking for the future of the core, which means where we can look into from the longer term as a collaboration and look for more of the opportunity. So thank you for having me here.
Hey, Pavan.
Hi, everyone. This is Pavan Kumar, partner at 3PM Ventures. I know David for the last 3+ years. Been with him in Silicon Valley. 3PM Ventures, we are primarily focused on very early stage companies. Most of the time, we are the first check. Focused on tech founders, building platforms. We are pretty agnostic. We are open to any sector. We have invested in 25+ companies, 3 exits and an IPO. The companies we invested are based out of India, US, UK, and very recently we started funding in Africa. We are looking for some disruptive platforms with tech founders who come with domain experience and expertise and some sort of strong customer engagements, then building something innovative. So looking forward to a great evening. I know David always brings together some special companies, special founders. So looking forward to some exciting time ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Pavan. I'm going to invite our 2 helpers, organizers, ST and May. Can you introduce yourself? Start with ST.
Hey everyone, my name is ST and I work with startups, and I also run a podcast called Next in Time. And I joined F50 Ventures with David just because I wanted to, understand the startup world even better, and looking forward to, meeting you all and working with you all.
Just because the startup fund, SV entrepreneurs, not F50 Ventures. Okay. So May.
Hi everyone, nice to meet you all. I am currently coming live from Boston here, traveling around. I work full-time in Google as a solution consultant and volunteer in SV as a lead volunteer coordinator. And I know some of you already here.
And sell tokenized real estate. So we work with private equity groups and sponsors to take a portion of their capital raises, tokenize it, put it on chain, and distribute it out to a wider range of investors who normally don't have access to these lucrative deals. So why is this important? only 8% of Americans actually own commercial real estate. And that's due to the high minimums. These deals usually come in at 75K to 100K minimum, which just is not accessible to most people. And then on the other side of that, these are illiquid assets, requiring most people to hold them from anywhere from 4, upwards of 10 years. And most Americans do have access to REITs to get a little bit of exposure to the real estate industry, but they don't offer the tax incentives that direct investment does. And you also can't pick your actual portfolio. So we came up with OwnProp basically to create a marketplace of high quality commercial multifamily real estate deals. These deals have high returns, solid cash flow coming from rent. We're able to, with blockchain technology, lower the minimums to hundreds of dollars. So instead of being 75K, it's $100. We took a lot of time figuring out what's important to the investor to make them understand what a good deal is. If you're a new investor to the real estate world, it might be very overwhelming. You might not know what an IRR is. So we took a lot of time figuring out the information hierarchy so our consumers can make a quality decision on if this asset is a good investment in 2-3 minutes. And then after they buy their tokens, we do have a secondary market where people can sell their tokens, so you can get in and out of the deals at will. So why now? Tokenization has really taken off. Just last week, KKR tokenized a big portion of their fund. But basically, we're finally seeing scale in the blockchain space. Layer 2s, which we're built on top of, are finally taking off. So we're building on the Ethereum blockchain, but we're actually on a layer 2 on Ethereum called Arbitrum. And that has dropped our cost of transactions dramatically. Before we were being charged about $20 a transaction. Now it's about 20 cents a transaction. So that's a dramatic difference that has really helped the community, the blockchain community as a whole scale. And I know that there are a handful of other startups doing tokenization. I think most of them are focused on residential, not the high quality commercial assets that we're offering. That's super important because people want to invest in the blue chip stocks. They don't want to invest in penny stocks. So a lot of people are drawn to our platform just based on the quality of our assets. I think also a big leg up that we have over the competition is our venture studio. We were born out of a venture studio founded by Pete Rex, who has $2 billion in assets, made a lot of money, and has a strong track record in private equity real estate. So being able to work with our in-house private equity group to solidify our legal framework, test out our smart contracts before we go out to third-party sponsors has been a big leg up. And then finally, we're building out a syndicated network of placement agents. So what does a placement agent do? They connect investors, particularly accredited investors, with private equity groups who are giving them deal flow. So we're incentivizing those placement agents to bring accredited investors to our network by giving them a perpetual royalty. So instead of having to shell every single deal that they get, they only have to bring an investor onto our platform once, and then they'll get a royalty for every investment that investor makes. So we're seeing good traction. We've fully funded 3 offerings in the Austin area. One was a cool hotel called Hotel Ella, where I was sitting there and I would see guests come in, buy a piece of the hotel that they were staying in for the night. So that was super cool to see. And then we also have a strong pipeline of private equity partners who are giving us deal flow, multifamily, commercial, industrial. So monetization strategy, we're going to take 3% commission on all primary issuance. So on that capital raise from the sponsor, we're also going to take 1% on commission for secondary trades on our secondary marketplace. And then in the future, we're going to take a $10 per month subscription fee for those power users who want extra things like early access deals or advanced analytics. And then we can also take a 3% yield on assets under custody by collateralizing them. So I have a great team around me. Matt McCloskey is a very talented designer leading our product. He has tons of experience in the consulting world for Fortune 100 companies. And then Vaish, who is our young hustler, he's leading operations and biz dev, really growing the marketplace on both sides. And me, I'm an engineer by trade. I'm doing all our smart contracts and whatnot. And now I'm taking over as CEO. So we're looking to raise $3 million. Most of that will be going towards our Reg A effort. So right now we're only open to accredited investors based on 506C offerings, but we're working towards a Reg A offering, which will hopefully open next summer, which will let us go to retail and really fill our dream of democratizing access to real estate. So that is OwnProp. The future of real estate is now.
David, can we ask questions?
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a great presentation, great idea. So on which blockchain are you hosting these contracts?
Yeah, so we're on Ethereum, but we're actually on a layer 2 on top of Ethereum. It's called Arbitrum. So like what I was saying before, that dramatically has reduced our transaction costs, but we're definitely strongly focused on the Ethereum community.
So if a certain property is listed on your platform, will the contracts perpetually be managed by you, or will the users have an option to go and trade them elsewhere on other marketplaces?
Yeah, so anyone can interact with our smart contract once it's on blockchain. We'll still manage it. We can upgrade it, add more features to it over time. But anyone in theory could interact with it. I think most people will end up using our platform to interact with it, though, because they'll be able to actually see what the property is behind the actual token on our platform, and they won't be able to do that in other spaces.
And you'll launch a token with every property you list?
Yeah, so each property is backed by a ERC20 token that correlates to the shares in the SPV that we're using.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Ethan, good presentation. Quick question. So you mentioned competition and competition. So I've seen a few companies, and you're right, it's mostly focused on residential real estate. So any competition that you see in commercial that you're doing?
I think really the only one, particularly in the blockchain space, so tokenization wise, I don't think there is any company really doing private equity commercial real estate deals. There are companies who are not blockchain companies doing it, such as Fundrise, but they're more of like an index fund almost. So it's like a basket of properties. Whereas with us, you can actually pick your individual asset that you want to invest in, more as a direct investment. So we're pretty unique by being able to provide both commercial and blockchain.
And you mentioned you're raising $3 million. How would you deploy the capital?
Yeah, so some of that will be put towards like engineering and design resources for building out our secondary marketplace, which should open next summer. And then a big chunk of that will also go towards getting the retail offering ready. So like the legal fees to get Reg A launched, as well as just marketing spend to actually get retail investors on the platform.
I have a question. So actually 2 questions. One question is about the relationship with blockchain itself. Ethereum's price, had upside down a lot lately. Last 1.5 years, upside down a lot. Will the Ethereum's like price change affect your holder, your purchasers' asset value?
Yeah, so we're just using Ethereum purely for the infrastructure that it provides. So our tokens are backed by real estate assets. So like the price of the underlying cryptocurrencies, so like Ethereum, Bitcoin, they might swing, but that won't affect the token price of our like property tokens. Our tokens really track, they track with the appraisal value of the underlying asset, as well as like some supply and demand dynamics that are just kind of brought when you get into a trading marketplace. But for the most part, our tokens correlate to the real value of the real estate.
Okay, so let me challenge you on the other end. And everybody's expecting Ethereum price will jump after Elon Musk bought Twitter. So if Ethereum price increase, so your holder will also not benefit. Is that right?
If the price of the token increases,
No, if Ethereum's price
Oh, right. Yeah. So yeah, the price of Ethereum has nothing to do with our tokens. So yeah, I mean, if there is a huge bull market, you might be better in holding Ethereum, but if there's a down market like we're experiencing right now, it would be better to trade into real estate assets.
Okay, got it. My second question is about competitive landscape. As Nikhil mentioned that I already saw several companies use either crowdfunding. I wouldn't say several, lots of companies doing either crowdfunding for property or doing tokenize the property last 5 years, last 6 years. And so why do you think your company can win in the game? And since $3 million is not lots of money to fight with all the different competitors.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the guys who showed up a couple of years ago were just too early. So I think we do have the timing right where, we are starting to see mainstream adoption of crypto and other use cases playing out besides just for purely currency. But I think our big leg up is really the connections that we have through our venture studio. We have a huge network here of private equity real estate groups who we can get connections to and get embedded with. And once we, form a relationship with the private equity group, they're going to give us deal flow continuously over time. So I can't imagine a situation where private equity group is going to go to multiple platforms to list their deals. So we really want to be the interface for that private equity group going forward.
So do we still have time, David?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. Can you talk a bit about your secondary market thing? I mean, in terms of revenue model, because you seem to be banking a lot on it. Eventually, if these are private tokens, obviously there has to be liquidity. So can you talk a bit on that in terms of security, the architecture?
Yeah, so all of our tokens will be KYC AML compliant, as well as if it's a 506c offering, all the token holders will have to be accredited. Basically, we're doing a whitelist on chain where we check to make sure that the wallet is whitelisted so that they can actually hold the token, that wallet has been verified. So I think for the secondary marketplace, we are going to see a lot of people who can, bring their wallets, their game into our marketplace. And I think what we can do some interesting things with smart contracts. So there's something called an automated market maker, where instead of having buyers and sellers meet in the middle at some price, like most traditional order book based exchanges, we can source liquidity and capital from really outside capital. So like people don't have to necessarily be invested or interested in the underlying real estate assets, but we can pool liquidity from people and bring it into our platform and make a market for our tokens.
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ethan, and thanks for the presentation. Let's move on to our next
Thank you.
presenter. So let me see. Okay, or is the okay? So Matt, go ahead and share your screen once you're ready. Okay, once you share screen, it's already recorded. So go ahead and start once you're ready.
How we doing? Can we see the screen? Hear me?
Yes, good.
Awesome. Hi, I'm Dr. Matt Bilski, an inventor turned contractor turned mechanical engineering professor. I founded Flex Solutions out of my own frustrations renovating dozens of existing buildings. Our team has spoken to hundreds of workers involved in the inspection and maintenance in the real estate construction areas. And what we learned is that just like distribution and warehousing has that last mile problem, in inspection and maintenance, it's the last meter problem. And what do I mean by the last meter? Here's an example of the last meter. What's on the other side of that wall? And our solution to answer that is the FlexBot. The FlexBot is this 1-inch diameter snake-like robot made up of identical links full of sensors, cameras, and lights. Users can connect any number as needed for a specific task and remain safely on the ground while receiving multiple views of the object they're inspecting. Imagine being able to stand on the ground while looking behind something like a rooftop solar to see if the roof brackets are going to leak. And because we're 1 inch in diameter, we're able to fit into tight spaces like inside of an outlet-sized hole in a wall and move through there. And so this is some footage we did for the DOE. I'll talk about that in a second. But kind of focusing in a little bit further on this last meter, this inspection. Imagine when you're buying a new property, that due diligence phase, the inspectors, the engineers are often less guessing what's inside that wall, what's behind that hole. So the FlexBot can enter a passage and then look around. Like, for example, here, I can see why my rental house's kitchen is always cold. There's no insulation under there. But really, the goal here is to find those hidden issues that result in those costly change orders. And so Flex Solutions were offering cutting-edge robotics at power tool prices, allowing them to be mass deployed across entire fleets. And since all of our links are identical, users can add or remove links as needed for a specific task. So initially, we're focused on the due diligence phase of real estate and construction, enabling inspectors and engineers to look for those hidden gotchas like missing seismic compliance or wind mitigation features. But then moving laterally beyond real estate and construction, we're excited to move to other industries like ship inspection. We've received inbound interest from dozens of companies across transportation, infrastructure, and beyond. As a company, we've won a number of awards. We were a Most Fundable Companies winner. We were in CDL. We were a finalist in Cowen. Most recently, one of top 10 finalists in the Nysen tanks inspection for the Navy, and in programs like Plug and Play Smart Cities. We also were one of the 3 winners of the U.S. Department of Energy's eRobot Prize in partnership with the firm Gensler, Lamar AI, and Skyline Capital Builders, working on minimally invasive building envelope upgrade technologies. So imagine being able to caulk a window without the need for scaffolding or a scissor lift, where a hole in the outside of an envelope is the equivalent of basically not insulating it at all. And I mentioned working with the Navy. And so a few weeks ago, we were actually aboard the USS Midway doing a tank inspection of their ballast tanks. So we put a 3D scanning head on the end of the FlexBot, and we were able to map inside those ballast tanks. But then once we were there, they said, hey, why don't you go inspect the rest of the aircraft carrier? So we had with us some accessories like our pole here, and we're able to go and inspect the HVAC system. And here you can see some views from the onboard camera, and then get up there and see the wires. And I don't know if they knew this. This is from our 360 camera head, but there's a bunch of deformations in the metal up there. And then we met the chief engineer on the ship, and he started listing off all the different uses he would use from his 23 years in the Navy. And he said, we're always having trouble getting behind the boilers, and moved a rope aside and let us do an inspection behind the nitrogen tank. So it was really interesting to get his point of view. And how can you go aboard an aircraft carrier without going on the flight deck and using your robot to look inside an underneath a jet aircraft? And that's really what we're focused on for the rest of this year as an early stage company. Demos in construction, maintenance, and marine environments using our joystick control. Towards next year, doing closed betas with these strategic partners, testing in the field along with a seed round, and enabling manufacturing ramp up. Once we have the product basically out in the market, we're looking to introduce it with automatic obstacle avoidance. No need for training. A worker simply inserts this up into the cavity they're trying to inspect, and then automatically detects the obstacles and bends to avoid them. And a big thing we learned is it's not just about collecting data in places, it's allowing folks to have a localized, so that 3D map with where those issues are. So users could subscribe to that automatic data processing and really taking it so they don't have to figure out how to do this. We can offer them the FlexBot and the software to manage their inspection data. And it's not just me. I'm excited to be joined by the rest of our team who have experience in early stage startups, construction startups, and bringing products to market. And thank you so much for the time. Really look forward to the judges' questions and really connecting after the event as well.
Can I go first? David?
Go ahead.
Okay. Hey, Matt, great presentation and a good product, man. So it's just for my own understanding. So it's are you trying to replace a borescope?
Yes, but
Okay.
no. So I don't know how much borescoping of existing buildings you've done, but I found borescope does best in what it says in the name. So if you have a tight bore, that little borescope does great. Or if you have a pipe, something that it can contort to, like a pipe inspection camera, it does great in there. But in something like a wide open cavity, let's say a wall cavity or under the floor where it just flops around, there's no good way to steer it. And then even with those steerable borescopes, you really just get the end that you can articulate a little bit. So there's no way to really get beyond where you could almost reach yourself.
Gotcha. And so you mentioned robotics. So is it manually driven? Because I didn't get that from the presentation. Is it manually driven or? Oh, that's great.
So this right here is just one of our links. And in our MVP, early stage, right, we're able to actually drive this ourselves to manipulate it. So at the early stage, users can pose it remotely. So it could be in a short thing like this on the end of a poll. But then in the full go-to-market, what we're really offering is taking the onboard sensors and creating automatic obstacle avoidance. So just as, former electrician myself, as you're fishing through, imagine that fish stick automatically bent to avoid those obstacles. So you're not hitting the fire block or something like that. And so that's something we've learned a lot about, is not needing to go get a pilot's license to use this or have deep intensive training. It's intuitive. So today, starting with the simple, MVP user interface, and then moving towards more advanced, the ability to have those obstacle avoidances.
Nice. You have any patents on this?
Yep. So we have multiple patents, 2 in the US, and these are issued in the US. We just received our first Japanese patent, China, Israel, pending in the EU, Korea, and Canada. We have the patentability for not just this to rotate here, but also to telescope in and out. And what that gives us is that unique ability to add more and more links. And if you read a lot of the news today, I set out with this goal of running wires through walls without a mess, that dream of put in through an outlet-sized hole, pull those wires. But reading the news about where self-driving and locomotion is, we realized that there's a huge opportunity today, focus on cobotic inspection with a worker inserting it. And down the road, as locomotion matures as an industry, we have that patent to expand and embrace. So that enables us to go like this and crawl through. So we realized today we could build a successful company. And as the state of technology advances, there's that opportunity to jump and add that on. And also, just how like Google Maps enabled Google to go and collect all this data you needed to do self-driving, that street view. Well, as we start doing this mapping and inspection in walls, we start collecting those massive data sets you would need to train autonomy and locomotion. But again, we're well aware that the self-driving autonomy industry is really not here yet. So that's why, as a company, we're focused in on cobotic, inserting this in, and building value today.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Do you have active customers using it in like a live scenario? Do you have any pricing sort of information on what they're willing to pay?
Yep. So that's a great question. So we just entered the demo phase. That naval ship inspection was our first paid demo. The Navy paid 10 grand for us to come out and do that inspection. So over the next few months, and anybody on this call want to call and talk about it, happy to get offline and continue those conversations, starting with us coming out, demonstrating it. Our goal is to start at a few $1,000s and ultimately drive that price point down to hundreds. Imagine that end cap, the 5-piece power tool set, that holiday purchase. That's really because we only have to make one link, rinse, repeat, repeat, repeat. We can drive that price point down. And it's even looking at our prototyping COGS, we're able to get to that. So early stage here at that pre-seed, working towards our seed transition.
And what are your COGS today?
I'd rather share that offline if that's okay.
Sure. Yeah. Maybe I don't understand the space as much, but like, what are people using today when your product's not in market yet?
Well, as I like to say, our biggest competitor is the status quo. Job site workers come up with all sorts of creative ways. So a lot of times you're cutting a 2-foot by 2-foot hole and then coming in and spackling. And in some cases, that's great. But if you're kicking the tires on a building before you bought it, they don't want you disturbing all the occupants. So there's some best guess getting burned on things. I was talking to the head of the Chinatown CCDC in San Francisco, who's been buying a bunch of these buildings to renovate for affordable housing. And she's telling me a story of the time that she almost missed seismic compliance. They said it was good. And then they finally found a little way to see that was missing all the nuts and bolts, and it wasn't there. So if you can get into it, you're cutting some holes. If you can, get a borescope to see, you might get lucky, but a lot of times you're just going to hit something in the way. So we're aware that, yeah, people have good spackle people, but that doesn't always cut it. And especially at some of this due diligence phases, we need to physically get in there and measure and do it. So we're looking to really empower folks with data they couldn't get before, and also minimize the costs and dangers and headaches associated with that.
Matt, how complicated is it for someone else to copy it, once you get popular?
Yeah, that's a great question. One of the big things that we're passionate about is working through the user experience. So that ability with the obstacle avoidance, we've been having our roboticists work on developing that. And so they, hardware without a good interface is essentially worthless. Yes, people buy knockoffs of GoPros and things, but how many people still buy the original thing because that experience and the software that supports it works great? And similarly, we're also, we have patents around the hardware, domestic and international, and how to fit everything in this tube. Literally had to get a PhD in figuring out how to make this thing. And then, tertiarily, we're really thinking through, it's the software, it's the experience around, great, I have a flash drive with an hour of drone footage, but it's the value add of, here's the 3D reconstruction, here's where the issues are, the value. So that whole platform that users can subscribe to for the data processing, the user experience, and there's even an opportunity as we drive hardware costs down that, hey, you subscribe to data processing for a year, here's a free flex spot, kind of like you subscribe to a cell phone plan for a year, and here's a new iPhone 10 on us, that sort of notion.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a question about your competitor. I think there's a use case. I don't know how big is use case, but I'm more concerned about technology itself. So I don't know this space, but I know like in robotic, like in surgery and in other use cases, lots of like soft wrap, like a tube, very long tube. You can send your robots there. Of course, they are probably 10 times, 100 times more expensive, but one day, those technology can be used in similar use case. For instance, you can put a small tube into your heart. That's a very long process and navigation system. I can see. I don't know. So maybe this question is out of two beginners. So how?
No, I'm happy to riff on that a little bit if you'd like.
All right.
Yeah. So
skip shot.
Yeah, you were describing like laparoscopic surgery. Well, that's basically a small pipe inspection. It's following along the contours of the artery. So those do well in the confined spaces, but when you have a larger space, they don't quite carry over. And I think your initial thought on 10 to 100 times the price, when you look at some of these snake competitors or things, you're looking, the cheapest or most inexpensive is in the high tens of thousands, but really, let's say intuitive surgical systems, a lot of these are so expensive that maybe you could have one as a company. But that notion of one in every worker's truck to decrease truck roll costs, so they get it done on the first visit, as opposed to multiple times coming back, is really not attainable with those systems. They're designed to be ultra precise and do surgery versus this is a power tool that has robotic capabilities.
Okay, Yuji, you have any question?
Yeah, you had great presentation. So like, is there like a specific target on your end, like, having more like a special technicians use your products, or like everyone on the field can literally use it? I think this kind of, brings up to the ease of the usage, how it is. So did you get any feedbacks during those demos, letting, like most of the videos you were operating yourself, right? But have you ever let, your potential clients to use it, or want to hear about those kind of things? Because I think, even though there's the collision avoidance, it's a bit, I think, tricky, and it has to be very robust as well. Like even for the collision detection, avoidance, if it's going to be only on the edge, the tip of the sensors, or you have to think about all the links and all the, the links that you have to think about, it's going to be a little bit tricky thing. So I thought it has to be, first of all, easy to use if you want to, scale it to a massive. So that was kind of my kind of thought for the question.
Appreciate it. So quickly digging through that, the notion is that anybody can use it. We don't want to have just the FlexBot tech who has to go. It's designed that anybody can go through. So we're getting ready to give it to more people, but I've been walking around conferences of late. I was in, Bay Area, a couple others with my backpack, and I just hand it to people and they start driving it with the joystick. And that's really what it is, of like, oh, you hand somebody a little remote and they go, that's what we are at. And then, when we come visit you, hand it to you and let you go and drive it.
Sounds great. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Let's thank you, Matt, for the great presentation. And let's move on to Mao-Du, the next presenter. Okay, go ahead and start once you're ready. Hey, I didn't see your video. I already do you? Go ahead, Mao. I think you are on mute or something. I don't hear you.
Oh, sorry. I was mute. Sorry about that. Let me go back.
Go ahead, restart.
Hey, everyone. My name is Mao. I'm presenting my startup CoHome. We are offering the most affordable way to buy and own a vacation home through co-ownership. What we find today's opportunity here is the consumer preference have permanently shifted. People used to work in the office. Now they have option to remote working from anywhere. That pump up the vacation demand to housing demand. And based on the current situation where inflation is high and the Fed just raised another round of interest rate, so that make a housing less affordable for everyone in a long term. And a lot of buyers are considering switching from solo ownership to co-ownership. And in addition, most of the second homeowner owns their property or use their property for up to 2 weeks a year. And that's not sustainable for most of the marriage America. And DIY ownership experience that has been shifted to a tech-enabled service experience. And I've listed 4 type of in real estate interest. There's a full ownership, there's a timeshare, there's a REITs. So compared to the 4 type of ownership, the co-ownership checked all the boxes. First of all, it's a true ownership real estate, and it has, which means that owners have equity grow over time, and we professionally manage this property so that it's hassle-free, and we provide a tech-enabled service, allow them to use the property based on their equitable interest in the property. And we offer a resale at market price. So you're not selling only to a certain timeshare or rates at a fixed cost upfront. You actually be able to sell at market price. But last but not least, the cost is substantially reduced because of the co-ownership by its nature. Today's barrier to vacation home ownership today is for the full ownership, it's very costly and associated with a high maintenance cost. In addition, the utilization is typically very low. Where the DIY co-ownership today, people always doing it themselves, but always complicated, risky. It's not scalable way for people to do it, and typically involve a high legal cost upfront. In addition, they have to self-maintain themselves, which it's just a lot of headache. But what we're doing here is we provide a full managed homes that are taking care of 2 aspects of management. One is a property management, another is a program management. We outsource the property management to the local provider so they can leverage their expertise. And what we focus on is a program management. What we do is we form the LLC, we manage it, and we distribute the rental profits. We build a tech system, allowed each owner to manage their stay, to schedule it themselves. In addition, we take care of accounting and compliance. CoHome is not timeshare. Instead, it's a full managed fractional ownership compared to the timeshare resort. Our co-ownership model applies to any home, not just a condo or hotel. It's a true ownership, so you gain equity over time, but not the right to use the property only. And you as an owner, you will have a property usage ongoing basis, not a fixed weeks during the year. As I said earlier, you can sell fractional through us in our marketplace at a market pricing on your term instead of set pricing upfront, typically lead to a loss. And in summary, CoHome is offering a right size of ownership that reduce the cost and hassle. Here is a system we are developing in our technology stack, offering equitable time for owners to use and for both rental property and non-rental property. And as you see, the more equity you own in the property, the more days and times that allow you to book during the year. So you can really benefit from the true ownership. Here are a few top markets. We have major footprints. There are some markets that are either fast growing, such as Florida, Texas, where some other markets are just the price are too high that a buyer has been outpriced. And what we find from our existing clients is
okay. So now can you manage your time? Can you wrap up?
Sure, absolutely. So this is our demographic. They are actually millennials. So it aligns with the research that in the market that in next 10 years, millennial will be the major consumer for real estate. This is our technology app that we're building that has a feature, certain features that support secondary market, that we streamline the buying and owning, allows agent broker to list at the fractional interest or a whole home. And we also building the voting because this is part of the ownership feature is that each owner gets equitable voting and booking in the system. Of course, we manage the home, so any financial statement, K1s will be updated with owners through the app. And current business model is pretty fruitful. We be able to scale our business through agents and other brokers partnership, and we will only take 25% agent referral commission. And the major source of revenue is 7% sourcing fee, and that will be charging on the buyers. And in addition, our buyers are always in our pipeline as a true owner, so we will manage their program through a management fee. And as we grow, we will be able to add the membership fee to the buyers, unlock some deals, and provide API solution to broker team and property managers for them to increase their pipeline for the new class of buyers. And those are all tailwinds, market facts here that allow us, support us for the growth strategy. And the total addressable markets for us is.
You really need to wrap up now.
Okay. Okay, so that's fine. If we, this is our revenue, and we're profitable. As you see, we're growing rapidly. Let me just wrap that up. This is our team. I used to work at Google. My co-founder also used to work at Google as well. We both in tech for a few years, and we bring real estate sector top agents in our team to help us build a business pipeline. And those are companies are currently our business partners, and we're also about to partner with the Introudciton, which is a big name brokerage firm, to increase our pipeline as well. We're currently looking for fundraising 4 million seed funding. And if you're interested, learn more about our business and our strategy, happy to connect offline. The co-ownership at CoHome provides better cash flow, better enjoyment through better together. Thanks, guys. Any questions?
Nice presentation, Mao. I'll go first.
Sorry, yes, go ahead.
So what's the difference? So Picasso, how do you differentiate yourself from Picasso?
Right. Picasso is targeting the vacation home for owners, where we are more focused on the short-term rental properties, because right now the investor are looking for cash flow to hedge the inflation. So we're targeting more rental property. That's why there's a rental income components into it. Where Picasso home are targeting super high-end ones. First of all, their market size is much smaller. Second of all, might not be a good timing for today's investors.
And how many total owners? I saw 1/8 model. I saw a quarter model. What's the model that you're ideal? How many co-owners would you have per property ideally? Because like Picasso has 8, right?
Because we're targeting the price range anywhere between 700K to 1.5. So most of our buyer groups has 4 owners maximally, anywhere between 2 to 4. That's kind of our average, and that allow us to quickly syndicate buyer enough to close on time.
Okay, can you just show us your revenue slides real quick?
Sure, absolutely.
Thanks.
Yep.
Just give everyone a heads up. We are exceeding our time now. Okay, we are behind now.
So this is our current revenue. We actually pretty early, but we started making revenue from April this year, and as you see that we finally test the market and be able to pricing that correctly, and that allow us to make money at $70K a month at right now, and we see this gonna coming. I know that November this month I haven't put November, but this month will be $90K. So we actually are growing at a reverse on the sales milestone. So it's just a bit exciting, yeah. Because this is a kind of lack of competition at this point and this on this stage. So we will be able to pricing that more allow us to fruitful entering the market, and that can allow us to reinvest into the customer acquisition.
Got it. Thank you.
And this is our profit. Yes. Any other questions, guys?
Okay, great. We have this your presentation too long. This my suggestion. You spent I know you present like 9 minutes or something. 9 minutes, way too long. So let's move on. So you need to read. We have lots of video about how to do the presentation on our YouTube channel. Go to our YouTube channel, and there's lots of very famous investors to talk about how to do the presentation. Thank you, Mo. But you have a very strong team. I look forward to see your more detailed business plan after. Thank you, Mo. Next, Sean.
Thanks, David. Thanks, guys.
Sean, are you ready? Go ahead and share it once you're ready, Sean.
I'm ready. For some reason, I'm not able to start my video.
Okay, hold on. Let me, because you turn on your video before you were ready. Okay.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thanks for taking the time, everyone. Nice to meet you. I'll try to keep mine a little bit shorter. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions. So just to give you the background, I'm a structural engineer.
Hold on just a second.
Sure.
You don't have anything to share, right?
I do have slides to share.
Hold on. Yeah, there's two more spotlight. Hold on. I think something's not right.
I can share screen. Do you want me to try sharing
Hold
screen?
on. Okay, now you're ready. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, let me try sharing screen just to make sure. Okay. So you see everything, right?
Yes.
All right. So anyways, just to give you the background, I'm a structural engineer by education. I was an engineering manager in oil and gas, utilities, and telecom for 12 years.
Hold on. Sorry. For the recording, since we are doing this video recording, you need to present as doing a presentation mode. It's going to look ugly on screen if you don't do the presentation mode. Sorry, you have to restart.
Okay. So what do you mean by presentation mode?
Right now, we are showing your desktop, your editing tools.
Okay. So do you want me to just share the slides?
No, I don't want to do anything. Just to do it properly. Whatever you want to do it properly. You want to do share your screen, do the presentation mode, not as a share.
Okay. I have to switch between the screens. That's fine.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. So I'm going to show you this first, this quick demo. This is not a demo of our entire product, but it kind of summarizes everything we do as a company. Our demo is very modular. What you're seeing here was 12 years of my life as a structural engineering manager and managing groups of 20, 30 people at a time, where it was manually doing construction drawings by hand. So what you're seeing here, we generate in 1 minute, which is uploading documents that result into creating a construction drawing, and generating a construction drawing in 1 minute, basically. This was basically, I managed a group of 20 people, and all day, 12 hours of a person's time went to this. So And this construction drawing problem is everywhere, from the house you live in to telecom towers to oil and gas facilities. Every structure you touch, there's a construction drawing. And especially in the industrial world, like telecom, oil and gas. So for example, what you see here, it's a tower, telecom tower from top, and we can even decide where the antennas have to go and stuff like that. In an industrial world, this is a very high scale repetitive problem. So what happens is you're going to be able to, you have to generate construction drawings consistently as you upgrade your infrastructure. And this is something it's a change in the industrial world, where we are building a lot more cookie cutter stuff, a lot more repeatable type of infrastructure, rather than the old school way of basically custom designing everything. Even from the house you live in, if you want to go buy a house right now, the home builder is going to give you 5 different options. You're going to pick one and based on different categories. Same thing is happening in solar, oil and gas, energy, and telecom. So, and basically, the way this ecosystem works everywhere is these 5 steps I have here for you in the industrial world when it comes to deployment of infrastructure. The first step is always real estate, because there's always a piece of land, a tower, a facility where someone owns, and they have to go figure out what are they going to build there. So they have to do lease app. If someone is leasing it out, they have to sign a lease agreement. They have to collect data from the field, and they have to see if they have any existing information in their data room, if there is a data room for that structure. And they bring that data to an architecture engineering firm, where they have to do 2 things: do a structural analysis, which is structural engineers like me would create a report trying to figure out what are the beam sizes, what are the thicknesses of the wall and stuff like that, and use that report to generate a construction drawing. And we carry over this construction drawing over the life cycle of the infrastructure. So when you go to construction, you have to create a bill of materials off of that and do things called like closeout package or as-built drawings. I don't know if you've ever dealt with a home building project before, but they have to mark up those drawings. And then every time there is a maintenance or upgrade, especially if there's equipment they have to upgrade, if it's a telecom tower, for example, they have to swap those antennas. Or if it's a solar facility, they have to swap the solar panels, they have to do a new construction drawing. So it goes through this circle all the time. And at the core of it is the data and the infrastructure. What kind of equipment you already have, what are your beam sizes, wall thicknesses, and things like that. And if you zoom into the telecom market, which was our first vertical where we started, this problem got really magnified by 5G deployment, where in the industrial world, in construction, we are very motivated by deadlines. So for example, Dish Network had a $2 billion fine that if they didn't cover 70% of the US market, they had to pay, which I think they're going to have to pay that. But also there is a real decline in number of graduates in civil engineering, because everybody wants to, we are very technical engineers, but everybody wants to go to the more high paying jobs like software engineering and stuff like that. So as this market is shifting, and it's a pretty big market. So if you just zoom in solar, EV charging, and telecom, the spending on infrastructure and architecture engineering is about 60 billion. And if you, just to show you the TAM for telecom, we have about 420,000 towers. Every tower has 2 different levels. So we basically lease space on the towers to carriers, to Verizon, AT&T, so they can go on these structures. It ends up being about 882,000 tenants in the US on telecom towers. And then you have small cells, which are smaller antennas we build on light poles and utility poles and fiber as well. And just this spending on that in the US is about 11 billion. That's on architecture engineering services. And if you zoom in on what we charge our customers, that TAM is about 5.5 billion. And based on this, we built an end-to-end solution for our customers to build, maintain, and upgrade their infrastructure. Starting from what I mentioned to you, site acquisition, and then coming to architecture, automating their lease applications, their permitting documents, coming to architecture engineering, automating their construction drawings, and taking that and generating things like bill of materials, estimates, and stuff like that, and then QCing all of these documents automatically for them. And the reason we are successful at this, if you see the bottom, is this back and forth crazy process of reviewing drawings. Somebody has to do this by hand, and an engineer has to review it, and the permitting office has to review it. We're able to run 3 processes in parallel. One is parsing the documents in the data room of what they have on the existing infrastructure and validating and QCing this data, and then generating structural analysis and construction drawing at the same time. That's how we can generate 40,000 structural analysis or construction drawing in parallel, rather than what is traditionally done, where you go to an engineering firm, they do a structural analysis report, they pass it to the next engineer, they have to do a construction drawing, and then they have to create a bill of material and stuff like that. So most of our customers are 2 types. They're architecture engineering firms and infrastructure owners. Because we are an automation platform, our business model is mostly credit-based. So people buy packages of credits from us. We have about 12 customers right now that I can't name necessarily. These are including the biggest infrastructure owner in the US and one of the biggest architecture engineering firms in the US. The way it works for them, this is just an example of one of our customers. They're an architecture engineering firm. They spend about this is a mid-sized engineering firm. They spend about $4 million on construction drawings right now. They came to us with one of their departments to automate, to use our automation tool for the construction drawings. And we brought down a week turnaround time that sometimes, a lot of times would get dragged to 2 weeks to 5 minutes. And the error rate on those drawings went from 40% to 0. So, and after they went through that first pass of like their drawings, every other department called us and say, whatever you did for them, we want you to do it for us. So we've had a lot of success, early success in terms of traction. And just to give you an idea of the landscape, we are basically automating the workflow for companies like Autodesk and Bentley. Autodesk is the basically owner of AutoCAD, and Bentley Systems is a pretty big engineering design software where when I went to college, these programs look the same as
Hey, Sean, great presentation. Can you wrap up?
Yeah, I'm pretty much done. So I'll just go to the team slide. I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I'm a very technical structure engineer by education, but Zain is also a later stage co-founder. He joined from IBM Watson, and he worked at Indeed before, and he founded a couple of different products that serve structural engineers. Chandan is also a VP of operations and finance. He has a really cool story. He had an exit from a $500 million company and raised $40 million. And there's stuff. We have a pretty good advisory team too, from CT of Nokia to C of Broadsoft. They were public for 20 years and sold to Cisco. And just to wrap things up, we are right now raising a 5 million seed round. 40% of it is already covered. We also have a strategic investor offering to cover the rest of the 3 million. But ideally, we want to have an institutional investor lead the round and have that 3 million on top of this 5 million later. So yeah, anyways, if you have any questions, I would love to answer.
Nikhil.
Sure. Hey, Sean. Nice presentation and nice product. So can you just quickly give me some quickly run down what the tool exactly? I didn't get it. So I think I missed the part where it parses through drawings. I think you missed also presenting a lot of information due to time constraint. So in some simple words, can you just tell me like how does your software work? If you have a demo, do you have a live demo video or something that you can quickly play?
I can show you a quick demo. So this is what happens on a customer front. Things are pretty simple. I'm not going to dig into because I know we are short on time. All the customer does is when they go to the portal is they upload their documents, because you need to generate a construction drawing based on a bunch of input documents. And once they upload it, they see the download here. So I'm going to show you what happens in the background to the journey for that document. The first thing we do is we parse all the information on these documents. So for example, there's a telecom tower drawing. They do these drawings based on 3 documents. It's like rows and rows of like tables, spec sheets, different documents. Impossible for a human not to make a mistake to go through this and generate a construction drawing. So once they upload these documents, what we do, I'm going to just skip through that. The first thing is extraction of all this data and doing really deep level data validation. Not only we validate the metadata, but we validate all the details in structure analysis, different reports, different documents they have in the data room to make sure they're accurate. So for example, here we're checking all the elevations, all the equipment that they have to go on the site, which we found a bunch of mistakes. We can automatically write the email to the person doing the mistake. So we tell them like, fix your report of these are the things, errors we found. Once we clean up the data and find all the mistakes and errors, we do a couple of things. We sort the documents automatically.
So can you wrap it up?
Sure. So we sort all the documents automatically, and then we generate bill of materials for them. And then the last part is the construction drawing demo I showed you in the beginning. If that makes sense.
Got it. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Shahin, great product, but how do you acquire customers? What's your customer acquisition channel? Is it direct sales reach out, or
so
how do you?
Sure. So in the beginning, it was a lot of referrals in the beginning. I think what we do resonated with a lot of people. So LinkedIn has been really good for us. Events have been great, one of the best sources of customers. And I think we are slowly moving from a sales-led team to also being a product-based kind of team with zero onboarding. So in the early days right now, onboarding takes a lot of time, but we are switching to a zero onboarding process so people can sign up on our portal. We do offer a project management portal for free to customers. So ideally, you want to get product list.
Yeah. And one last question is, you took a lot of detailing into telecom. Looks like you have domain experience.
Right.
Think of this of a oil and gas site or some drilling site or some other, some refinery, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you acquire that domain experience and domain knowledge, to really build all those competencies into the platform?
So yeah, I actually do have more oil and gas experience than telecom, but I think eventually for us, EV charging and solar are national next step. Our existing customers work in EV charging, solar, oil and gas. We don't have to go acquire new customers. They're mostly different features of the same product. But eventually we have to be an open source platform. So other structural engineers like me can write their own program on our platform. And that way we don't need to expand, like go build for every vertical.
Okay. Yeah, got it.
Mm-hmm.
Shahin, my 2 cents will be take that $3 million, close the round.
Yeah.
Don't be too greedy, and build your product instead of finding institutional VCs right now, right? They make a product that they'll all come and chase you, right?
Yeah. We already have a product, but yeah, you're right. And that's probably what's going to happen to close the 3 million on the convertible note, leave the 5 million.
Because you have good traction. You don't need venture money right now.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's always hard to say no to money. I slept under a desk in an office for a year. So
okay, Shahin, what is your revenue projection for this year?
We're going to cross 500,000 this year. So we have like the bigger customers that one of them has signed up for 1.25 million once they're onboarded.
How many percent of these customers are recurring customers? Let's say for the same customer next year, what the revenue looks like?
For the same customer so the 1.25 million was the half of 50% of their drawings just in telecom. So their total spending is about 2.5 million. So they've signed 50% with us. But
okay, your answer is too complicated. I don't understand. So what is the revenue for you next year for same client? Do you have recurring revenue?
Yeah, it's a SaaS product. It's sure. I believe it's a subscription model, right?
No, it's a credit-based model.
It's a credit-based. Okay.
Yeah, so they buy packages from us.
What is your revenue expected for all the customers this year?
It's about 6.
For next year.
Next year, 5.8 million.
For same customer.
Even if we don't get any new customers, yes. We have the biggest infrastructure owner in the US because they're being onboarded now.
Okay.
And then we have a couple of other big engineering firms. They're way past.
So what's the break-even point?
For us?
Yeah.
It's about 3 million revenue right now.
So
we are very capital efficient business. Yeah.
So you'll be breaking even in 2024.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Any other question? Yeah. Okay, thank you, Shahin. Great presentation.
Yeah,
maybe long, but I like your product. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So I have Prakash, right? Prakash, you
Yep.
ready?
Yep.
Go ahead, start once you're ready.
All right, let me share first. Can you guys see that okay?
Yes.
All right, I'm good to go. All right, hey everybody, my name is Prakash. I'm the co-founder and CEO of InsurePro. I come from a background in insurance, but also from a technical background in building platforms and APIs. And I have a co-founder who's also experienced in insurance. And we've together decided to attack problems in business insurance and what we consider the most configurable and transparent business insurance platform. And we'll talk a little bit about what that means. So the reason why we went into this is because there's some core problems in business insurance across the whole ecosystem, which kind of drives the lack of trust. If you look at most data, you'll find that almost 50% plus customers don't trust business insurance in the way that they either interact with the broker and it's not transparent enough in the sense that they don't know why they get the price that they get. They just get a price. They don't know what factors went into it. They also don't know transparently what risk and what kind of exclusions affect their actual policies, which might come back later to bite them, right? Also, configurability is pretty bad. So if you go to a flight booking system, the amount of configurability you have in moving the levers to see the price change doesn't exist in business insurance. So what we're building is a very highly configurable system that basically attacks this problem that can plug into various different contexts, right? So think of it in three different ways. A business owner usually engages with a broker or an agent, or tries to buy policies online, or is either plugged into some other platform where insurance is a requirement, right? In all of these contexts, the business owner doesn't really actually have a core understanding of why they get the price that they get. So what we're trying to build first pass is a modeler that without actually going to the carrier uses anonymized carrier data, but helps the business owner move levers that they can move just typically how you do it in kayak. For example, if I say a no stop flight or a one stop flight or a two stop flight, similar things are things that they can do on their business insurance policy to basically adjust the pricing, which is 95 to 99% accurate. The reason why that's important is because the more the customer can do that, the more they gain trust in what they're getting. And it becomes even more important in self-service and API-driven context or embedded context. So the modeler is one of the solutions that will serve the front-end trust of this. On the back end, we're building what we consider hyper-configurable APIs, which is to say that it's very important that we maintain consumer context to basically serve them better over time. So if I'm on Amazon, APIs have to understand better who I am, what kind of business I have, pick up my customer data, and give me the right kind of policy very quickly, but also give me other kinds of policies and other things that makes me a lifetime partner, as opposed to a one-time transactional entity, right? So which is a big problem in insurance. So we're solving two major problems in the way that we ensure trust and configurability. What we have established so far is the purple area of this chart, where we've actually built the backend, which integrates with 20 plus carriers via API, and the front-end marketplace where business owners can go online and buy a policy very quickly, but they get rates from 20 plus carriers like Kayak or Hotwire. And we've seen really great traction from that. So the market is huge. We're trying to gain a percentage of the market by 2026. Which is 1 billion plus from about a 900 billion market. And we're focused more on online and embedded insurance small business market. We've had some great traction so far. We launched our digital product in March. And since then, in about 7 months, we have 70% month-over-month growth. We're getting close to about 500K in revenue, 2,100 customers total, really good LTV to CAC ratio so far, and amazing retention as well. We're connected to 20 of the top insurance carriers, and with Progressive coming on board very soon. So it's been a really great 7 months with a great infrastructure already in place. From a competitive perspective, we have some competitors in the API space, but if you look at most of the traditional companies, they have a marketplace experience. They don't attack this from the perspective of solving for transparency and high configurability, which becomes very important in the future when embedded insurance becomes a very important factor. So we're focused on those aspects and making sure we can combine machine learning and API-driven methods to solve for that. From a growth perspective, think of us as an analogy to Amazon. Basically, our first step is to build a marketplace, just like how Amazon did. But the second and third stages are becoming more of the AWS, where the capabilities we're building can be given to other clients and other customers to enable business insurance for them. So stage 1 is all about premiums and brokerage fees we get and ad revenue. Stage 2 and 3, you will start to see expansion into API-based revenue and SaaS-based revenue that will grow over time. And then in 2025 onwards, we'll be doing more specialty offerings for the gig economy. Our primary go-to-market has been so far based on affiliate marketing, which has been very effective for us, and paid social. But long-term, our success is going to be on how many embedded and channel partnerships we can get. Also something called the Job Club, which is a really cool referral model and a community model we're building, and some B2B referrals as we grow the B2B portion of the business. We have a really strong team. I come from a background, like I said, of platform and API expertise and marketing and taking them to market and monetizing them. We have a strong team of machine learning, business development, engineering, design and sales agency work. And so far the team has really crushed it. We're looking for 7 million funding. I don't know, like the round itself is probably called pre-series A right now, but we're looking to spend most of the money on improving our engineering and machine learning capabilities in the form of hiring staff, as well as supporting the growth of our marketplace by digital marketing budget. There will also be some spend on sales and business development folks who support the policy sales. Cool, that's all I got.
So Prakash, you mentioned that your revenue is around half million, right?
It's getting close to that.
Okay.
I thought you said 500,000 per month, is that right?
No. It's so far year to date. It's getting close to 500 in commissions. Year to date. Yeah.
And so what is the total value of the insurances sold?
3 million.
Okay. So for a 3 million sale, you get 500,000 in commission?
Yeah, we get about 14 to 15%.
Okay.
And then we also have some ad revenue on top of that, but commission revenue is about 90% of our revenue.
Hey Prakash, great presentation. Can you kind of elaborate a little bit about is there any like a specific type of the insurance that you're talking about, or any specific business owner that you're talking about? And also, I think I'm using those anonymized data, which is great. But for example, kind of in this kind of unforeseen world that's going to happen from now on, for example, this climate change or those kind of things, how do you address these kind of like a difficult predictive kind of world that's might gonna happen?
Let me answer the first question first. So we are targeting currently small, medium businesses, 100K to about 3 million in revenue. That's our sweet spot. And that's mostly, if you look at it, they're anywhere between contractors, painters, or even people who are like DJs and restaurant owners. But small, medium businesses is a sweet spot. The second part of the question, I didn't really follow. Can you repeat that if you don't mind?
Yeah. So, for example, if we think about insurance, you said you're using like historic data to get some kind of suggestion, right? But I think from now on, there's going to be more unpredictable thing could happen because of the climate changes or like that. So what's going to kind of affect on those kind of predictive model, if you can kind of talk me about that. Yeah.
We're not entirely predictive in the sense that, so firstly, we address specifically commercial insurance types like general liability, workers' compensation, commercial auto, everything in the commercial space. But what we are doing is a mix of actual anonymized policy data, but we also do scraping of current market data. So we're not very far off in our estimates because we also incorporate current market data in our estimates.
Yeah. I see. Got it. Thanks.
Can you talk a little bit about your competitors? I know looks like have good attractions. This space is also pretty competitive since lots of companies are selling insurance, the traditional one and also the new one. Well, who do you see as in the same player with you?
Yeah, so I think the left column, the column here are probably the closest ones. And the reason we say that is because they do have kind of an API-ish model or a platform model. But for example, we have actually tried to integrate using Bolt Penguin and Bolt. And honestly, the what they've developed is not really configurable for an embedded insurance context. It works really well for out-of-the-box brokers who want to use something like that. The closest one is Cover Genius, who has APIs, but again, their configurability level is a problem. Like, so what we want to be is when a company looks at us, we want to be the most plug and play platform out there that they can evaluate, right? So if you look at a Stripe, the reason for some of their success long term is really how plug and play they are, and that's really going to be our differentiator over time.
Prakash, how much have you raised in your seed round? You call this pre-series A.
Yeah, we're funded by a venture studio in Austin. I mean, I think you guys are aware of Rex. So we've actually spent our run rate so far is about $2 million in core expenses. And so I would consider that what we've raised, because it's not technically an actual raise. And then now this is the first round we're raising, but we have enough traction to go beyond what we call a seed.
Got it. Thank you.
Cool. Any other questions?
Okay, great. Thank you, Prakash. Great job. Okay, our last presentation today, Jeff. Are you ready? Hey, Jeff.
Hi, how you doing?
Can you turn on your video and go ahead and share screen once you're ready?
All right, give me a moment here. All right, do you see just the presentation screen?
No, I have not seen.
All right, let's try that again. I'm sharing that currently.
Yes, go ahead, start.
All right, perfect. All right, my name is Jeff Nelson. I'm a mortgage professional. I've been involved in the mortgage industry for about 30 years, in all different aspects, from technology to sales to operations, et cetera. One of the biggest challenges that we run into is lead generation, making sure that we find the correct consumer for any particular transaction. So what we're building is a digital financial identity, and starting in the mortgage industry simply because that is something that we know very, very well. For some reason, I'm not getting my page down here. Hold a second. Gonna have to start with a mouse. My apologies. So the problem for us is always data. Internet-based leads is what feeds most of the mortgage industry, as well as most of the finance industry, and we're dealing with personal, identifiable information. We're also dealing with a very large monopoly that is industry ownership. They control pricing, they control all of the data. And there's a whole bunch of abusive practices that take place within the finance industry, which are constantly being addressed by laws and rules and regulations, et cetera. For lenders, it's incredibly expensive. 2001, we were probably running about $1,000 a lead for a closed transaction. Today, we're running over $4,500 a closed transaction. And as you can see from the screenshot, we're losing about $82 for every single loan that's generated in 2022, which simply isn't worthwhile for anybody to chase. For consumers, it's difficult from the standpoint they feel like they're overwhelmed by excessive paperwork. It's a very paper-intensive process. They feel abandoned when they hop on online services. A lot of times they jump out. They just don't like the user experience, and they've lost control over their personal online data. And this came across today into my email, which I thought was kind of funny, because this is what the finance industry looks at as a consumer. Then we hold the team accountable to sending the communication multiple times a day. To give you an idea, last year, 2021, I made about 7,200 phone calls on the mortgage side. And I can't even count how many texts, emails, et cetera. Just drives the consumer absolutely nuts. So our solution is allowing the consumer to control the sharing of the data and the information, doing away with all the telemarketers, the multiple sales of leads to different lenders, et cetera. And basically the best lender bid wins, giving the consumer the best possible transaction to the open marketplace. The marketplace that we're building for the mortgage side is a digital identity. It includes their data and documents that are required for the fulfillment of a mortgage loan, and it's auction-based. A little bit of a wireframe there, kind of give you an idea of the different things that we're using. Obviously, it's based on the blockchain. It's based on Ethereum. The side chain is Polygon, and our NFTs and delivery process is done through Solidity. It's self-sovereign data. It's accessible and reusable. Our whole goal is eventually to get this down to a daily usable product. It's obviously zero knowledge. We have absolutely no access to any of the information that the consumer puts up. It only goes to one single lender, and it's breach resistant. Our go-to-market, our goal is to get near 100% conversions. We have one lender, one consumer. Consumer gets access to all the best lenders in the marketplace. They bid for that consumer's business. Consumer gets the best execution. And that is a change from current market practices. Again, back to 2021, we were running about 15 or 16% of the leads converted. In today's market, currently about 1/2 of 1% is converting in the open marketplace. The other thing is that market price and bid. We will get paid whatever the market will bear. We have a pretty good idea of what that will be. But one of the things that we're trying to do is democratize both for the consumer as well as for the lender side. To give you an example, some of our competitors charge $10,000 just to be able to get on and get a lead from them. We're planning on making that barrier much smaller. Vertical is about $44 billion for the mortgage fulfillment side. Lead generation runs somewhere between about $6 or $8 billion, depending on what time of year it is. We're anticipating roughly about $100 million in gross sales in the first 5 years of our existence. Kind of competitive.
Jeff, sorry to bother you. So can you wrap up?
Yep, I'll wrap up right here. So competitive landscape, currently leads are sold 5-10 times over. Consumer is bothered very deeply. On our side, it's only one-on-one conversation. The information is only exchanged with one individual. On the leadership side, myself, I was nominated by my peers out of about 500,000 professionals in the mortgage industry as one of the 25 top mortgage professionals. I have a background, again, sales, marks, ops. My CTO, Eddie's out of MIT. Our guy that's building it on the backside is Ved and his team. We have about 9 teams on the team currently. Product, we started our sprint in August. We'll be ready to launch in February. Currently, we're completely self-funded. We are seeking capital partners as we roll it out to the marketplace. Kind of what's next, automation. We can actually build a mortgage application with 3 data points, getting that daily use aspect, and then going to universal adoption into other financial verticals. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. So
Jeff,
how many users you have right now? What's the number size of the user base?
We're in the dev stage. We won't launch until February.
Okay, thank you.
And how much are you raising, Jeff?
The current ask is $3 million, and that'll get us to market. But we're not ready to accept any investment at this point in time. We're waiting until we've got our MVP launched. And at that point is when we will start looking for that $3 million. That gets us out into the marketplace.
What sort of initial interest do you have? Do you have anyone, any sort of like go-to-market partners? Do you have gotten good feedback from people who have seen mocks or stuff that you're working on?
Yeah, absolutely. We do have a limited number of people that we'll bring in as our beta testers in the beginning here. All of them are relationships that I've had for a long time. I've spent a lot of time in the wholesale side of the mortgage industry. I have a lot of deep relationships on that side. We don't need very many. If you look at it from the standpoint, 250 customers, we can generate $100 million in revenues by the end of year 5. Our whole purpose in life is to make it easy for everyone that is in the process, make it seamless for the consumer, get them the best possible transaction, get the best execution that we can for the lender.
Can you dig into those numbers again? Like how do you get like so much revenue from such a small group of customers?
Well, currently, if you look at lead generation on the mortgage side, you can actually generate a tired old lead for $5 or $6 a lead. If you go on the top side, bank rate as an example, they run probably, and it depends on what your contract state, but in the $300 to $400 a lead to get it done. You know, back to that scenario of 2021 where we ran 15 to 16% of the leads were closing. It wasn't such a big issue. Most of the lenders target right around $1,000 or 25% of revenue for a loan for the lead generation side. Right now, lead generation is probably in excess of 75 to 80% of the gross revenues that are generated. So the whole idea is to, you know, slim down that amount of time that you're culling through leads. You know, talk to one person rather than to 200 people. And, you know, as I say, my background is mortgage. I was, last year, I was in the top percentile of mortgage originators. The company that I worked for was one of my startups that I just recently exited. And we started it in 2020. By the end of 2021, we were the 7th largest broker for the largest wholesaler in the United States. So it's something that we know how to scale. And we know what the costs are.
Okay, great. Jeff, thanks a lot for the presentation. Okay, that's all of our presentation.
Hey, David, I've lost my audio.
Judges going to go to a different room to do deliberation. And now I'm going to turn the mic to ST and May to host the open mic session. Whoever wants to announce yourself, go ahead. Raise your hand so ST and May can bring you to the stage. Okay, so all the judges click the link and go to different room. The room is already open.
All right, cool.
ST, you're in charge now. Okay.
All right, yeah, sounds good. All right, cool. So anyone in the audience want to come up and present yourself? Just tell us more about what you do and why, like what you're looking to build. If you're not able to join, you can just if you're having issues, you can go ahead and just click allow to talk on your on your profile to see if you can raise your hand if you want to come up. So. All right, I think Aaron wants to come up. Hey, Aaron, how are you?
Hi, very well, thank you. How's everybody?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Great. I was thinking that I'll be having to have the opportunity to present today, but apparently not. There was a miscommunication. Just want to say hi to everybody, and it's so insightful to hear of the pitches. And I really look forward to the next pitch. But just in a nutshell, I run a furniture and design company. My background is in architecture, and we're developing a modular wall system that doesn't require you to drill into the floor, into the ceiling. You're able to move it at any point in your life. So we are going to make renovation a thing of the past. We are going to really revolutionize how houses and apartments and any buildings will be designed, and being able to future-proof our homes. Make demolition, no wastage. And I think just very simply having to add value to people's life by being able to adapt their spaces to their needs. So thanks for listening. I really hope to present my deck soon.
Sounds good. But I think Aaron, were you able to bring in a presentation slide deck?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right, cool. Thank you, Aaron. Anyone else? Okay. If nobody wants to come up and present, you can come up and maybe have a quick chat if you want.
Sorry, a quick chat, Hassan, having to present my deck.
No, not your deck. Don't worry. No, you're good.
Oh,
No, it's just just casual water cooler chat.
all right. How do we do that? Like right now? Having to.
Yeah, I mean, it's usually, if you ever have in-person events while the judges are going inside to deliberate who's the winner, everyone else just goes ahead and networks with one another. So kind of like that.
Oh, no, fantastic! So again, we're besides having to present a scheme and raise funds, it's also having to find synergies and connections, because there are many kind of facets to how we are going to distribute the system, and one of them is to do with the user interface, having to buy it. So beside the hardware, we are having to deal with atoms, it's also the virtual space, and it's kind of you're having to the journey of somebody having to design their homes or to renovate. You have to go through the design process of an architect, interior designer. You have to tender out to builders, and and getting all the approvals and so forth. So I think what one of the presenters did was having an automated process. So imagine if you're able to simply upload maybe your floor plans, and the program, the parametric AI app, is able to discover different permutations of layouts based on your brief. If I want a 3-bedroom, this is how you rearrange your walls. If it's a 2-bedroom or 4-bedroom, etc. And what you then can do is being able to add to cart, get immediate price transparency on what your renovation or new space is going to be. Click buy, and everything going to be delivered to your place, ready to be assembled in a day or two. So if anybody out there has kind of knowledge in AI or developing kind of apps like that, yeah, please feel free to reach out.
So yeah, Aaron, I was gonna say, I think I know someone. Are you looking to build an MVP right now? What's the status?
So we have the physical prototype, and again, my background is in industrial design, architecture. So things to do with the UI, the AI, everything to do with all the virtual interfaces is something that we are kind of it's an unknown, and we need lots of great people on that front.
All right, cool. Yeah, do you have a link? Do you have a LinkedIn so that I could reach out to?
Yeah, I do. I'll put it on the chat if
Yeah.
I can do. It's disabled. Probably on the Q&A. I'll put it on the Q&A. So I'll just put in my profile in the Q&A chat box.
Trying to find it.
How do I do that? It's me.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
All right, so you live in Australia?
I am, yes, in Perth. Have you been here?
No, I've never been to Australia.
And you're based in Austin, I suppose?
The Bay Area, but
The Bay
the
Area.
other the western version of Austin, yeah.
Nice. That's where all the that's where all the the VC, the really progressive, innovative kind of companies are. I plan to make a trip. I think when I have the prototype ready, thinking how to bring 3-meter wall panels on board a plane. I don't think I can. Probably have miniature versions. But yeah, I'm like, do you have any tips on having to like approach companies?
In terms of what?
Oh, well, I guess like you're just doing pitches, fundraising.
I mean, it's just the numbers that will make the difference. It's like the number of presentations that you do in front of investors. That, okay, especially if you want to target the right investors who could be interested in what you built, then yeah, I think it's all about a numbers game.
Right. So just flood it out there, get it out there as many as possible.
Yeah.
Cold emails.
I would say it's better to meet them in person and then schedule meetings, at least because cold emails, your chances are like 1%, less than 1% of an acceptance rate. I've done that myself with cold emails when I try to reach out to random people, especially like who are especially in like people who are higher ups. They need to know that they need to know that you're kind of serious in a way. They kind of have to have that feeling from you before they have that conversation going.
Right. So it's really just having to like call and make meetings, or like keep pestering the receptionist to get you a meeting.
No. I mean, receptionist. I don't know about receptionist, but yeah, just schedule. All you have to do is just schedule quick meetings if you can.
Gotcha. Good to know.
But yeah.
And what startup, may I ask, did you start? Yeah.
I haven't started I've worked with startups, but I haven't really started a startup myself.
Right. So and what's the sentiments right now in Silicon Valley? I mean, like in the Bay Area, because like I understand right now it's so hard to raise funds.
Right now everything is a little bit tough right now with the whole economic situation going on. And the level of if you notice that a lot of investors right now are not taking the big risk because of what's going on. It's a little bit of an uncertain period right now. And I think I think somewhere mentioned that 96% of CEOs right now they are expecting a recession to happen next year.
Right.
So I think everyone right now is hunkering down and being very careful with where they're investing right now. I wouldn't say that there's no funding, there's no investment going on. It's just it's not going to be like happy days where you can just throw in your money and then let's get something going kind of investment.
Right. Good and bad, I guess.
Yeah. And there's always going to be a good and a bad for everything.
Yeah, because like just something on the side, like it's also like down to how big would it be, like how big you're raising. If it's like 90 mil, it's going to be definitely like different from like something that's 1 or 2 or 6 mil. So I mean, like in your opinion, do you think like a small raise like what you see here is going to be just as hard, not harder?
Yeah, I think raising is going to be hard.
Despite of the value, despite of
you have to like say it's all about if the investors are impressed with what you present to them at the end, and are they willing to say, okay, if your venture showcases that there is traction, then people will come, like the investors will come and say, okay, let's give this guy a chance.
All right, cool. That's good to know.
But hey, have you come to the States before?
I have, yes. It's been too long. It's almost like 10 years since I was last in US. I was in New York and I flew to LA, went to San Fran, live it there.
Have you decided to have you built startups before, or is your first one?
Well, I built companies before. So like, actually open space is, I founded this in 2015 and we started as like a furniture and design kind of like space. So in a way, mostly dealing with like furniture. And the pandemic got us really all hunkered down and, got back to the roots of having to do industrial design. And just like, that simple at a revelatory moment when I was in my friend's place. He just had a gorgeous renovation of like backyard, nice pool, but it was an old house. And the vista, like, the opening towards the back is just like, cut in half. You have like, an old room with guest room on the side and your living space on the left. So like, and suddenly like you feel so small. I was just thinking like, wouldn't it be nice if that wall would just like, disappear? You could just like, take it down without having to like, do messy, stuff, because back then was pandemic, you can't get workers in, you can't do anything. And that gave me the idea of having to like, why can't our walls be like a piece of furniture?
Right.
Move it around, has you want.
Right.
So yeah, so like, that's we had a huge pivot. So in a way, I'm kind of like, from a 7-year company, we are kind of like fresh again, being like a startup again, having to raise funds and pivot our business towards a singular product.
Got it.
Yeah. But yeah, if you could like, definitely, if you know anybody in the tech space that can, build great apps and AI, please feel free to like, refer them. Appreciate it.
Got it. Yeah, what I'll do is I think I will set you up with someone because I know this person who could help, who could help out. Let's see how that conversation goes. Maybe if anyone in the audience right now who wants to chip in and help Aaron out with building his product, let us know, or let him know.
Thanks, guys.
Kay, sorry, I think now I'm looking at the answers here. So, Kay, yeah, I think Aaron has posted his LinkedIn right here on top. If you can see it, let me know. Yashini said, what's your advice to be for individuals whom are considering the switch from corporate to startup? What personal characteristics or qualities are key from going from ideation to unicorn? I think.
Well, I'm still here, so I'm happy to jump in on that. I was about to type an answer, but
Yeah.
while we're waiting, might as well,
let's
put our time to good use here.
Let's keep the conversation going.
Yeah. So, they're opposite. It's, what personal characteristics, tenacity, like you gotta, it's whether or not you agree with Elon Musk, and he does, in my opinion, says a lot of unique things, but one of the funny ones he says, if you have to ask yourself if it's for you, the answer is no. It's like, okay, are you going to get paid this month? Are you not? There's not saying every corporate job is cushy, but there's an inherent cushiness to a corporate job. That startup life, you have to be willing to put IKEA furniture together at 2 a.m. and sleep. One of the other founders said sleep under the desk, and like it's just bullheadedness in a good direction. I mean, there's a lot of talk out there about like how do you start a company and what's the right order.
Okay, guys, we have the winner.
Yeah.
All right, drum roll.
All the judges back. They're coming. Okay, do we got all the judges? Pavan. Okay, I think we're missing one.
Nikhil, I think.
Okay. Hey, we need all the presenters come back. Where's the presenters? Okay, where are all the presenters? Can all the presenters come back to stage? Okay, otherwise we'll miss the winner. Okay, all the presenters, some presenters already left, looks like. Okay, too bad. Okay, that's fine. We'll just announce the winner ourselves then. Okay, so hold on. I'm going to do the recording. Okay, welcome back. Okay, I'm using one important judge. Where's Nikhil? Okay, let's go ahead and start. So after, and my goodness, like nearly 20 minutes, very intensive discussion, we have select 2 winners for this month's online startup showcase. Jama, please, I'm going to invite our judge, Yuji, to announce the first winner. Welcome, Yuji.
Yes, thank you, David. Of course, this was a very hard pick for us. I think every company was doing a great presentation, but we have to pick the winner. So for this time, it's going to be Shahin from Inorsa. Is he around here?
No, go ahead. Maybe give you a little bit of reason why you pick up.
Right.
Inorsa.
Yeah. So everyone loves Shahin's product. I think they're solving the big problem in this structure, not just in the structure, but in the engineering designing field, which has a huge potential to grow from here as well. So not just thinking about this initial product, but for what's going to happen around the similar type of the project, I think there's going to be a huge growth from there. So yeah, I think that was the reason for me to select Inorsa.
Okay, I'm going to invite Pavan to announce our second winner.
Okay, thanks, David. I want to congratulate every founder who presented today. Very innovative companies, a lot of great ideas. And the best part is all of the presentations and ideas were tested. I think most of them have traction. They are making progress. They come with a very strong domain experience, knowledge, and customer connections. That's a huge compliment. And that's a great beginning to build great companies. And I'm pretty confident all of them will go on to build successful companies, gain traction, and be successful. But again, we have to choose someone whom we feel is having a great prospect and pretty close to testing success, close to having some good traction, and also ready to be funded. So the next company is InsurePro. InsurePro seems to be doing a great platform in terms of integrating all the APIs from all the major insurances. Looks like close to maturity in terms of product, and also the traction is reasonably good. And given the scenario, most of the businesses would be needing this platform. We felt like this is more or less closer to success, and they have a great opportunity to progress from here on and scale quickly. So that's why we chose that InsurePro. So congratulations to Prakash and team.
Okay, thank you, Pavan. By the way, Inorsa was referred by our common friend Ravi.
Wow.
I sent a note to Ravi privately.
Wow.
Okay, so maybe I want to invite Nikhil and Sunthar to give your perspective of why those companies were selected. Maybe add a little bit insight or your opinion about it.
Sure. So Inorsa, according to me, is actually solving a bigger issue of inefficiencies in the engineering construction sector in general. So they're kind of streamlining the whole documentation process and plan generation process. I think it's a niche market, but at the same time, I think there are a lot of takers. All small, medium size, even large enterprises. That product can be attached to every different market size of a company. And then InsurePro, we had a good discussion about InsurePro, and I think their insurance business again has a very large market in general, and the way it's set up right now, it's very inefficient. So it does not rely on a very good market to kind of gain traction, basically, right? So that's kind of the reason why we chose InsurePro. And I would also like to mention the other startups. Everybody did a great job presenting. Ethan from OwnProp, Matt from Flex Solutions, Mao from CoHome, Sean from Inorsa, Prakash from InsurePro, Jeff from myidfi. Everybody did a great job, and keep going. I know pitching is hard. I always say that, right? Because of founders, there are investors. It's not the other way around. So keep doing what you guys are doing.
Sunthar.
Yeah, I want to echo on everything everyone said. It was a very lively discussion, very good presentations. But more importantly, you guys have built really good products in highly competitive spaces. For the winners in particular, it's the traction just stands out. Building something in a very specific use case is actually a lot harder than what people think it is. And both Inorsa and InsurePro have been able to build something that's very targeted and gotten really good traction from their customers, which is very impressive. The other teams are not that far behind, and it's very exciting to see where all the teams end up in the next 12 months.
Okay, great. I want to thank all the judges for spending time, and I want to congratulations for our two winners, Inorsa and InsurePro. And these two companies will be featured on our YouTube channel as well as our blog and social media next few days. And all the judges, please make sure you share, okay? So for the company who did not win this month, this is not your judgment day. Don't worry, their timings are favorable and personal preference. Don't worry. And we have very good companies on the list. I think worth mentioning, I think FLX are addressing some problem, very interesting problem is there is a strong need there. It's a bit too early to see whether FLX can win. And OwnProp definitely in the long run has huge market to we call it have non-professional investor investing in real estate. CoHome is in a very niche market, and of course each of them have their strengths. I wish some of them will be more successful down the road and come back maybe after 3 months or 6 months. And again, thank you all for all the judges. Thank you all for the presenters and listeners. Thank you. That's all for our event today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.